Good morning, everyone. Today, we're going to tackle Module 6 Bilateral Trade Agreements by the Philippines. Topics to be tackled are Bilateral Trade Agreement, what is ASEAN, what is Free Trade Agreement, ACFTA, AKFTA.
Bilateral trade agreement. Bilateral trade is the exchange of goods between two nations promoting trade and investment. The two countries will reduce or eliminate tariffs, import quotas, export restraints, and other trade barriers to encourage trade and investment. So basically, yung bilateral trade agreement ay kasunduan ng dalawang bansa regarding sa palitan ng iba't ibang commodities. Puwede nito para ma-promote nila yung mga products na maaaring di available sa ibang bansa. Sa agreement ding 'to, puwede nilang bawasan or tanggalin yung mga trade barriers na nakakaapekto sa trade. Three of the most common trade barriers are tariff, import quotas, and export restraints. Sa pagbawas or pagtanggal ng mga barriers na 'to, mas maeengganyo silang makipag-trade. So, ano nga ba yung goal ng bilateral trade agreement? One of the main goals ng agreement na 'to ay para mapalawak yung access sa iba't ibang products sa pagitan ng dalawang bansa at para din mapataas yung kanilang economic growth. Yung mga terms ng bilateral trade agreement, standardized business operation in 5 general areas. First is eliminate tariffs and other trade taxes, which is magbibigay ng price advantage sa dalawang bansa. Second is countries agree they won't dump products at a cheap cost. Ginagawa kasi itong ng ibang kumpanya para magkaroon ng unfair market share. Binababa nila yung presyo ng produkto ng mas mababa pa kesa sa presyo sa bansa nila or kahit yung production cost. Tsaka sila magtataas pag wala ng kakompetensya. Third is government refrain from using unfair subsidies. Maraming bansa na kasi ang sinasubsidize ang strategic industries tulad ng energy and agriculture. Dahil dito, napapababa yung presyuhan ng mga producers. Nagbibigay ito sa kanila ng unfair advantage pag-export sa ibang bansa. Fourth is the agreement's standardized regulation, labor standard, and environmental protection. Ito naman yung nagbibigay sa country's exporter ng competitive advantage laban sa foreign competitors nila. And lastly is that they agree not to steal others' innovative products. Kasama sa kasunduan na hindi na nakawin yung product ng ibang bansa. So, inadapt nila yung kani-kanilang copyright and intellectual property laws. It's an agreement between countries to promote trade and commerce. The main advantage of bilateral trade agreement is an expansion of the market. It can also result in the closing down of smaller companies unable to compete with large multinational corporations. So, one of the main disadvantage naman to, na magiging dahilan para di na mag-business yung mga less successful companies. Siyempre, mahihirapan din silang makipagkompetensya sa mas malalaking kumpanya ng ibang bansa. Bukod dito, pag nawala pa yung protective tariffs, mawawalan din sila ng price advantage.
ASEAN, or Association of Southeast Asian Nations, na itinatawag noong August 8, 1967 sa Bangkok, Thailand. Kasabay na rin nito paglagda ng ASEAN Declaration. Una itong pinirmahan ng 5 foreign minister mula sa iba't ibang bansa at ito ay ang Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, Singapore at Thailand at tinuturing silang founding fathers of ASEAN. Ang goal ng ASEAN ay mahikayat na magkaroon ng coordination at integrasyon ang mga bansang kasabi nito, pati na rin ang region overall objectives tulad ng trade at economic growth. ASEAN has established a free trade agreement among member of states as well as with countries like China. and it has made it easier for individuals of participating countries to travel within the region. Noong January 7, 1984, naging kasapi na rin ang Brunei Darussalam ng ASEAN at sinundan ito ng Vietnam noong July 28, 1995. Sumunod na rin ang Lao PDR at Myanmar noong July 23, 1997 at panghuli ang Cambodia noong April 30, 1999. Sila ang tinatawag na 10-member state of ASEAN.
Ang Free Trade Area ay isang rehiyon kung saan ang isang grupo ng mga bansa ay nagsisign para sa Free Trade Agreement at para din ma-maintain nila yung kaunti or para mawalan ng barriers sa mga trade in the form of tariffs or quotas between each others. Ayun. However, yung free trade areas ay na-criticize both for cause na sila daw ay nakikipag-associate sa mga matataas na economic integration para daw sa artificial restraining free trade.
ACFTA, which means Asian-China Free Trade Area.
Acfta, the ASEAN-China Free Trade Area, is a free trade area among the 10 member states of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations and the People's Republic of China.
Ang ACFTA ay isang trade in goods or take trade and service and investments. So, pag sinabi natin trade agreement, ito yung ini-eliminate o nire-reduce yung tariff barriers and non-tariff barriers. Free trade area such as agreements involve cooperation between at least two countries to reduce trade barriers, import and tariffs, and to increase trade of goods and services with each other. Ang Asian objective is to accelerate economic growth, social progress, cultural development, and promote regional.
China first proposed the idea of a free trade area in November 2000. Leaders of ASEAN and China thus decided to explore measures aimed at economic integration within the region in Brunei the following year. They endorsed the establishment of ASEAN-China Free Trade Area.
FTA, Free Trade Area, is lowered or eliminated tariff on qualifying goods sold in a foreign market.
What are the objectives of the Akfta? First is to strengthen and enhance economic, trade and investment cooperation between the parties. Second is to promote trade in goods and services, and to progressively liberalize, meaning is to loosen or remove restriction as well as create a transparent, liberal, and facilitate investment. Third is to explore new areas and develop appropriate measures for closer economic cooperation between the parties. Last is to facilitate the more effective economic integration of the newer AMS and bridge the development gap among the parties. Akfta accelerated the implementation of the Agreement on Trade in Goods and for the Akfta via the Early Harvest Program. What is an Early Harvest Program? The Early Harvest Program is a free trade arrangement under the framework of China-ASEAN Free Trade Area and is designed to accelerate the implementation of China-ASEAN Economic Cooperation Framework Agreement. By reducing the tariffs of some agricultural products in particular, including livestock, meat, fish, dairy products, live plants, vegetables, fruits, and nuts, the ASEAN country can attain early access to China's huge domestic market prior to the establishment of the FTA. So, what benefit does this early harvest program do to our country, the Philippines? The Early Harvest Program enables the Philippines to be in a better position to export more competitive agricultural products to China. As a result, The local farmers will be the direct beneficiaries. Acfta have provisions for reciprocal tariff rate on products under the ST list of exporting parties. Tariff reduction or elimination is composed of two tracks. First is the normal track and second is the sensitive track. Annex 2 of the TIG agreement provides that reciprocal tariff rate treatment of tariff lines placed by a party in the sensitive track shall be governed by following conditions.
Good morning, everyone. So today, our group will also discuss ASEAN-Korea Free Trade Area, also known as Akfta. So, in 2005, ASEAN and the Republic of Korea signed the Framework Agreement on Comprehensive Economic Cooperation, which set the stage for the signing of four agreements: trade in goods, services, investment, and dispute settlement mechanism. All these form the legal instruments for establishing the ASEAN-Korea Free Trade Area or AKFTA. So sabi nga dito na noong 2005 daw, yung ASEAN and yung Republika ng Korea ay pumirma sa isang agreement dun nga sa Comprehensive Economic Cooperation na nag-set down ng stage para mapirmahan yung apat na agreements. And yung agreements na yun ay yung trade in goods, services, investment, tsaka yung dispute settlement mechanism. At yung apat na yun daw ang naging legal instrument para ma-establish yung AKFTA. So, what is the main objectives of AKFTA? So, sinasabi lang dito na yung objective daw ng ASEAN Korean Free Trade Area or yung AKFTA ay maging catalyst o kumbaga magsisilbing pundasyon para maging mas lumakas o mag-strengthen yung trade economic relationship between the ibang ASEAN member tsaka yung Republika ng Korea. So, para din daw doon, mas mapush palalo yung economic growth tsaka development. At the same time, na-increase yung standard ng way of living daw ng mga tao na nasa ASEAN member states tsaka Korea through nga daw sa liberalization and pati pagpo-promote ng trade ng goods and services, tsaka yung pagke-create daw ng transparent, liberal, and facilitative investment regime. Isa pa ditong objective ay yung mas ma-facilitate daw yung mas pagiging effective ng economic integration ng mga less developed ASEAN member states. Kumbaga, yung AKFTA din magsisilbing bridge na magtutulay o ko-connect dun sa development gap between the two regions, which is nga yung Korea tsaka yung less developed ASEAN member states.
Comprehensive liberalization and facilitation of economic relations between ASEAN and Korea encompassing trade in goods, trade in services, and investment. Ito ay tumutukoy sa komprehensitibong pagpapalaya at pagpapadali ng mga ugnayang pang-ekonomiya na sumasaklaw sa trade in goods, services, and investment. Abolition of non-tariff barriers and introduction of disciplines to ensure that the non-tariff barriers do not impede trade. Ito ay pagbibigay wakas sa non-tariff barriers. Ano nga ba ang barriers or the trade barriers? The trade barriers often protect domestic companies by putting restriction on the movement of goods amidst nation. The barriers are classified into two categories, which is the tariff barriers and non-tariff barriers. First, what is tariff barriers? Tariff barriers are the tax or duty imposed on goods which are traded to or from abroad, while the non-tariff barriers are the obstacle to international trade other than tariffs. Ito din ay patungkol upang ma-ensure na hindi magiging hadlang ang non-tariff barriers sa kalakalan. Have provision for reciprocal tariff rate treatment on products under the ST of exporting parties. Ito ay pagbibigay probisyon para sa reciprocal tariff rate treatment sa mga produkto na belong sa ST of exporting parties. Ano nga ba ang reciprocal tariff rate treatment? Ang reciprocal tariff treatment is a act serve as an institutional reform intended to authorize the President to negotiate with foreign nations to reduce tariffs in return for reciprocal reduction in tariffs in United States up to 50%. It resulted in a reduction of duties. Ito po yung pakikipag-ugnayan ng ng presidente sa mga foreign nation upang mabawasan ang tariff o yung mga reduction of duties. At ang ST list naman, ito ang sensitive list of exporting parties.